All right, I ran somehow I wound up seeing something Joel Klatt talked about in October about he really was triggered by something that I guess Kirby said. I want to go over this real quick. Joel Klatt is the play-by-play man for the Big Ten Network. Excuse me, for Fox. I did not mean to do that. For Fox, which has the Big Ten Network on Fox, as well as the Pac-12, etc. And it's very interesting, kind of what he did, and we see this sometime now. Uh, I don't know if y'all are aware of it, but if you read what I write, I'm plenty critical enough of Georgia, Kirby certainly, and everybody in the SEC. But I think what Joel Klatt did here was kind of um, this whole thing where something's bothering him about Kirby because of what he said. There's two things, and I'm just going to read what he said. He said, "I get labeled, this is Joel Klatt, as being this SEC hater because I will give other teams their due." I'm just going to stop right there real quick. Hey man, listen, Joel, you're not the only person that gives other teams their due. You're not. I mean, congratulations. I don't really know. That's not that doesn't mean you're an SEC hater, and it doesn't mean you have to defend stuff. I mean, everybody, anyone with a brain, which I'm certain that Joel Klatt's got, um, if they're not some homer, then there's plenty of criticism and blue ribbons to hand out. You don't shouldn't get a pat on the back because you quote give other teams their due. We all do that. It's not exclusive to you, man. And he says, because I don't buy in to all the time to head over heels for the SEC narrative. Now, I'm not totally sure what he's talking about there, but he gets straight to it right here. He says, I don't buy in when Kirby Smart tells me, and he goes into a very thick Southern accent here. He says, it's so hard to win at Missouri. No, it's not, Kirby. Shut up. That's what he says. There's a couple of things here. He says it's not tough to win at Missouri. Your team just played like garbage. First of all, they did play like garbage, number one. Number two, Missouri, I was there that night. Joel Klatt was not. And I can confirm that that was probably the toughest place that Georgia played this season. Now, what does that say about the rest of the SEC? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But um, I've been to Neyland, to Tiger Stadium. They're definitely harder to play at than Missouri, as he puts it. And by the way, people call it either Missouri or Mizzou. And the reason they call it Mizzou is because you've got two big cities that call it a particular thing, and the rest of Mizzou, Missouri, and some people call it Missouri. And so, folks from the rural parts call it Missouri. And so Missouri, the University of Missouri, just calls everything Mizzou, and it keeps it. Everybody's happy, the city folk and the country folk. So when Joel Klatt does that, I mean that's a little bit. That's one thing, but just to tell someone to shut up, that is extremely disrespectful. And you don't do that. Not where I came from. And that's just not something you say to somebody. To say shut up to somebody is to say that what they're saying doesn't matter, and it is the most disrespectful thing you can say to somebody outside of fu, because uh, and most people are not going to say that publicly. And I don't know why he's bothered by Kirby. I think there's a lot of people. There's plenty. If you want to be bothered by Kirby Smart, there's any number of things that you can pick from. The way he runs his program, the way he does this, the way he does that, that he wins too much, that he loses too much, loses when he doesn't need to, he wins too much, and I don't like him, or all this stuff or whatever. But like that shouldn't bother Joel Klatt. You're supposed to be a journalist. Like you're supposed to um, not really care. And when you go into that whole routine, I don't know. Kirby does have a bigger accent than I do. And my wife's is worse than Kirby's. Does Joel Klatt think she shouldn't be able to talk? See how people can twist this. So I think that's something you really want to watch out about. We've got some of these Kelee Ringo signed. dog instructions while they last. I don't know how long they will last. We have other ones as well. Make sure you're seeing that. And also, too, just real quick, the link down below is to Ticket IQ, our friends. I know a lot of y'all go hunting later in the week for tickets. The link down below is going to have some of the best deals. And I'm not just saying that. I've used Ticket IQ in the past. Easy to deal with. Check the link out. It's below for this weekend for in theory, the next game, which would be in Atlanta if Georgia wins in the Peach Bowl. They've got a lot of options. So check that out. And, you know, that it really is a good service. So I just think that, Fox has always had a particular attitude in their broadcasting, and it's been that way since the 80s. They don't do things the way that other folks do. I don't think I've ever heard Kirk Herbstreit tell someone to shut up, but maybe he has. I'm not sure. It's a little bit aggressive for me. And I would tell Joel Klatt, hey, listen, by the way, Joel, if you want to come on, we can talk about this. It doesn't bother me. And I know you're big time. That's fine. I've been around the block a little bit. I'm not on broadcast television, but that's not what my role is. And I'm fine with that. And I think, part of what he's saying is accurate. But there's a lot of people that call, bull crap, if you want to call it that, on the system in terms of, everybody in the SEC is not good. If you listen to our podcasts, our broadcasts, for lack of a better term, our streams, that's not a broadcast. You'll hear us say often, this team's not very good, but we live in this bubble. I would like to hear Joel Klatt say, and maybe he does, I would like to hear him say that maybe the Big Ten narrative is a little bit overrated. I mean, who's good in the Big Ten right now? 3 teams, maybe. I guess. Let me check the standings real quick. And I'm not being a smart ass right now. I am legitimately, because I know Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State are all in there, and they should be. But after that, I don't. Is there a okay? So Michigan, Ohio State at 5, Penn State at 8. Um, Yeah, that's it. So there are three ranked Big Ten schools. Michigan certainly belongs where they're at, and I think Ohio State belongs where they're at, and Penn State basically belongs where they're at. Um, there are, let's see, one, two, three. There are 6 SEC schools that are ranked. Georgia has beaten 3 of them, and very well may beat the 4th. That's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, beat 3 of them, and may well beat a 4th on Saturday. So the quote SEC narrative. I mean, I don't. I mean, he's saying the SEC is the best conference. It's clear. I mean, you cannot possibly make the argument that someone else is. I mean, would you make the argument? And I think maybe this year it would be, would you make the argument that Pac-12 is better than the SEC? I think the answer to that is no. Could you make the argument that this season the Pac-12 is better than the Big Ten? You might be able to. I mean, and what I mean by that is SC, Utah, Washington, Oregon, Oregon State, UCLA. I mean, these are all teams that are ranked in the top 17 of the college football playoff. There are 3 teams ranked in the Big Ten. Joel Klatt is going to be calling the Michigan game against Purdue, who is not ranked like in any service that I'm aware of. So I did not like. I think it's overboard. I mean, I think it's overboard to tell. First of all, tell another grown man to shut up is not acceptable. Telling that is it is very very disrespectful. And he may have meant it tongue in cheek, but I'm just saying where I grew up. No, I didn't grow up in Colorado. I grew up in East Atlanta, and you said something like that to somebody, you better be prepared for the outcome of that. It might not be a fight. It might be. I don't know. And then the Southern accent thing, um, having lived in the South my entire life, uh, I don't, and having traveled the country, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I need other folks to tell us that we're stupid when I know we're not, or insinuate it with accents. I mean, no one makes fun of a Utah accent or someone from Phoenix. Um, and having been to Phoenix many times, I can assure you that there are plenty of people there like there are in Georgia. I've been to Ohio. I've been to Michigan. I spent time in Indianapolis this past year. It was, whatever. But I don't know why it bothers him so much. Does he do the same thing with Dabo? Does Nick Saban? Does he make fun of the way Nick Saban talks? Um, or what bothers him about Kirby? I got to deal with Kirby 3 times a week or four, I guess it is. Wait, now I'm gonna multiple. We're just gonna say multiple times. And I mean, he's not my friend, but I'm not. I mean, I don't. Why are you doing that? I don't understand that. Is you're going to do the same thing about Jimbo? I mean, I think it's real. You got to be real careful, doing that. And I'm sure y'all can pull up clips of me doing that. But I have to say, when you are a Southerner and you're doing that, maybe it's not quite the same way. And I will point out that again, and she is smart, intelligent. I mean, my wife has a huge Southern accent. I mean, it's the real deal, and people associate that with someone being dumb. And I can assure you that that's not the case. Even though plenty of us grew up down here, uh, we're not we're not that stupid. We're not as stupid as y'all think we are we? But I don't know why it bothers you, Joel, and I'd be glad to talk to you about it. I'm sure I know I don't mean this in a smart way. I'm sure you're too busy with everything that's going on this week, but maybe in the off season we'll talk.